Hey, what is up guys, Lee here. Today I am bringing you a review for Fast and Furious 10, the latest Fast and Furious movie in the franchise, starring Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, and a whole bunch of other cast ensemble for the 10th installment of this franchise. I don't know where to start with this review because honestly, like Vin Diesel bonding with his son beginning of the film and later on as we see in the trailers and all the promotional marketing, Jason Mamoa is the main bad guy. His name is Dante. He is related to another main antagonist within the 5th installment of the franchise, which honestly that was like my favorite out of the whole franchise, Fast 5. Second being Fast and Furious 7. So Jason Momoa's character Dante, he wants to take revenge against Dom for, killing his dad and taking all his money after the 5th movie. Basically, if I were to describe Jason Momoa's character in this, I would say he's like the personality of the Joker while he has the physical traits of Kraven the Hunter. I have to say, Jason Momoa, he steals this movie right from the get-go. Honestly, the promotional marketing for him in this movie was not doing him any favors. He just came off as goofy in the trailers and everything, corny as well, but when you see it in the theater or on digital or whatever, however you're gonna watch it, he really is the main standout throughout this whole movie. That is my positive for this movie. We're going into the negatives already. There's just so much within the franchise that you have to like call out on its bullshit. Like, I know Fast and Furious has built itself up of like being over the top notch action film with involving cars. I mean, at first the premise was, they were thieves and everything, but later on in the series it gets so over the top where it now becomes an anime or a Bollywood action flick. And that's not to say it's bad, but like for a westernized film blockbuster, it doesn't click. Like how I mentioned, you have Bollywood and anime and stuff. Those work well for, what they've already built themselves up to with their whole content. Whereas the Fast and Furious franchise started a little bit realistic. I'm not saying it was 100% realistic, but I'm saying there was stuff that was actually believable within the first few movies. Later in the 6 and onward, it's like it's an SNL parody of itself from what it was. Because, people online, they always joke about, they're gonna fight a tank. Next movie, they're gonna jump off buildings with their cars. They're gonna go to outer space. When these movies get released, they actually happen. I wonder if whoever's in charge of these movies, I'm sure Vin Diesel, because I'm sure he's really the one who's pumping these out more than studio execs. He looks on the internet, thinks like, oh, you know what, that is a great idea, let's do that. No, it's not. It shouldn't be done. But we're at a point where it's like, okay, you know what, let's just, it is what it is. Let's be in the passenger seat and let's just go for the ride. That's basically what we're at now. But for a 10th movie, don't get me wrong, okay, I was trying real hard throughout this movie to turn my brain off, but I'm just like at a point where like, no, there's just so much bullshit at face value that you get to a point where like, okay, come on, you gotta call out on that shit. You gotta call it out. It's like what Martin Scorsese says about the MCU movies. These are theme park rides. And ironically, the theme park ride in Universal Studios isn't as fun as these movies. With Jason Momoa's character, he brings a lot of chaos into this film. And that's a great thing because, as far as villains go in these movies, they've been all right. I mean, Jason Statham, he was more of an anti-hero after like the 7th. He was avenging his brother, and then Hobbs and Shaw happened, and later on. John Cena, like he was a villain like throughout the whole movie, but then he, changed his ways afterwards. Charlize Theron, I don't know, that one's hard to explain. I mean, she's basically the Loki of that universe where, she's creating mischief, she's still being a problem towards Dom and all that. So it's like, okay, at least there's someone that's consistently bad. They don't all change or die, and who gives a But with Jason Mamoa, he really stands out against all the other villains, where there was times where I was actually nervous what this motherfucker would do. He was literally, like how I mentioned, he is like the Joker. He creates chaos. He's a showman. it's so interesting to see this from a character like that he's playing in this film, because you would never expect that within these series. The film, despite its flaws, Jason Mamoa, he brought his A game, whereas the others, I'm like, I've grown up with the series, and I'm at a point where like I don't care about them, because death in this franchise means jack shit, literally. So I'm at a point where like where there's, you know, emotional scenes within characters, you know, sacrificing themselves, being the heroes in this movie. It's like, dude, I don't care. I know it's gonna happen. You don't have to keep jingling the keys in front of me. It's tiring to a point where it's like, it's kind of insulting to the audience, where it's like, do they really think the audience is this dumb? Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. My theater experience wasn't all that great. I had people talking on one side, commentating on it. I was like, dude, Jesus, like, shut the f up. And another just like constantly laughing, where it's like, don't get me wrong, you can enjoy a film, but there's to a point where it's like, okay, dude, it really wasn't that funny. Like, no one can stop you from laughing, but like, dude, Jesus, like, you know, you're not by yourself, right? As for story-wise, not like, you know, some Avengers type level stuff, which is funny considering this is how they're trying to build up their 3-part finale, which is like an Avengers level threat, which is Dante. Considering it's just like a basic ass plot, you know, Dante's not like, you know, going after some magical weapon or something to erase like humanity. It is what it is. It is a Fast and Furious movie. You're not gonna expect, you know, some grade A level writing or cinematography. I can't really take it seriously with its soap opera moments. You do know this is a movie that's about explosions and cars and slow-mo and superhuman-like ability characters, which death isn't, you know, a problem for. But you have moments where it's like very serious dramatic acting, which isn't really the best acting at all. It's very conflicting on those two fronts, where I could care less about the drama aspect and just like boom boom explosion, cars, slow-mos, racing. Oh, and that's another thing, at least in this movie there's actually a race scene in this movie, but it just came out of like so far left field where it didn't feel authentic. But I do appreciate the fact they actually involved racing in this movie, so that was something. It was nice to see that. There you have it for my spoiler-free section. I'm gonna have two different kind of scores for this. Score-wise, as a Fast and Furious movie franchise, I give it a 6 out of 10. Now, as a movie stand-wise, like if I'm taking it out as not a Fast and Furious thing, just like I'm treating it as an actual movie, I give it a 4 out of 10. Like really kind of like a conflicting feeling with me. And then when you add that together, it's a 10 out of 10. So, and there you have it, guys. That is my review for the Fast and Furious 10. If you guys have seen the movie, tell me what your thoughts were. What is your favorite Fast and Furious movie out of the whole franchise? And make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment down below, and catch you guys next time. See ya.